push-ups out there? You looking game ready?
All right, go ahead, Coach.
You're just trying to bait me into some lie, right? It's just a warm-up, you know what I mean? Do a little push-up.
Barry was telling us that as far as the actual pace of the offense goes, it's not going to be too much different from last year. What have you brought so far to the first 5 days of camp?
Well, if you're asking about pace, I think the important thing is our guys understand that every play they need to operate as if we're going super warp speed. And that doesn't mean we'll necessarily go that fast, but you know, there's a difference when the whistle blows on what your demeanor is to line up. You can kind of be lethargic, you're talking, you're working away. Well, when you're doing that, the defense, they're taking their time. Versus let's get on the ball and get ready. If we want to go fast, we'll go fast. If we want to take our time, we'll do that too. So the hard part is just training that. You know, there's a conditioning component to that. You got to finish the play, you got to move on quickly. No matter what happens, move on, get to the next play.
You have 2 really talented running backs, but is there anything any skills they didn't really have to exercise in that old offense that you're going to ask them to do more of in this
I would say probably the biggest difference from them is the protections in the pass game, getting out in the pass routes is probably the difference. More different assignments, protection-wise, and then more routes in the pass game.
What's impressed you most about Jonathan Johnson since you've arrived at Mizzou?
I think it starts with his competitive toughness. He's exactly what you want. You know, people, when you evaluate players, everybody talks about all these physical traits, size, speed, you know, what's his change of direction, what's his hand, what's his catch radius. But competitive toughness is line 1. And that allows him really to play to his potential, and it's a great example for all the other lineouts. You know, I think, you know, everybody saw the Jarvis Landry, that's kind of the talk right now. I mean, but that's how JJ is. He competes, he's not going to back down, and he's got a lot of mental and physical toughness, and hopefully it'll rub off on the rest of the crew.
With all those starters returning, how do you push some of the guys maybe behind them to still compete for those jobs?
It's a great point. And, I think number 1 is holding the starters to a high standard, and if they're not performing at that level, we give opportunity to everybody else. So everybody's got to be ready to play. A, you never know when somebody's going to go down, but B, there's a lot of guys who, if you're outperforming a guy who started last year, we're going to play the better player. And they need to know that. As coaches, we got to be honest about it. If there's a young guy playing better, he's going to play. And I think the biggest thing, though, is if you can help us win, we'll create roles for you. All right, so maybe if you're not a starter, but you have traits that can help us win, we're going to try to create a role for you. And they need to know that.
As you were getting cut up on film last year, coming into this team, were you surprised at how successful, not say how much, but how successful they were in play action on offense?
You mean it was really RPOs, so it wasn't really play action.
Right, but yeah. For a long time,
so the difference, let me just explain what I'm talking about here. You know, the play action to me is I'm faking the run, but the O-line's protecting and you run routes. An RPO is I'm reading the run, the O-line's blocking the run, and then the quarterback, it looks very similar. The ball's out quicker. They were really built around the RPO game, and that was really the best thing they did. And we're going to do some of that because they were good at it. And then we're also going to have some play action there too. So this will be a little bit of a mix.
You'll obviously have all 5 starters back in the offensive line, but Barry said still not totally comfortable with the depth behind that. What do y'all do?
How many guys made all conference last year on our offense? I'm just curious because we talk about like these guys are entrenched and start. How do the backups do? All right, how many guys made all conference?
I don't think it was any, right?
That's what I thought. Yeah. So if you hadn't made all conference yet, then I mean it's open season. That's how I feel. All right, now, and if you have made all conference, then you need to keep performing at that level. But until we start having all Americans, all conference players, it doesn't matter that you started. All right, you might have started by default because we didn't get anybody better. Doesn't mean you're good, right? We clear on that with the starting deal?
Your players
start pissing me off, huh?
Did your players feel clear on that?
Huh? They better be. All right, but here's the reality. Until they feel competition behind them, they're not going to believe that. So that's a fair point too. So they have to feel competition, and that's the importance of recruiting. you got to bring a lot of good players in. All right, and the more you compete, all right, the more you feel guys nipping behind you. Hey, you don't want to practice? Fine. Put the next guy in. Right? We're good. Come on, stand by me. All right. The worst thing you can be is held hostage.
Are any of those freshman receivers pushing those?
Yeah, they're, you know, it's practice 5, so it's early. We're gonna create environments where they all feel competition.
Specific to the offensive line, do you feel like that has that sense of competition so far?
We need to promote it and create it. Probably none of it's enough. No way. Okay?
All right, Coach. Thank you.
All right, here we go.